You know, for years, I've had the same ritual. Every Sunday morning before the world wakes up, I sit down with my coffee and I think about the market. I check the charts, I read the news, and I mentally run through my portfolio. And for the longest time, especially with HBAR, it felt like I was just staring at the same old picture. A slow grind, a quiet battle, a project full of potential that just wasn't quite breaking out. My grandpa, Leo, who always used to tell me stories about the early days of the stock market, how he saw IBM and Microsoft when they were just little startups, he'd always ask me, so what's this Hedera thing doing? Is it ever gonna pop? And I'd just shrug and say, soon, Grandpa, soon. Well, he passed a few years back, and I often wonder what he'd think about the crypto world now. And as I was sitting here this morning, drinking my coffee, I saw something in the charts, I read a headline, and I had this overwhelming feeling that I finally have an answer for him. A reason to tell him, Grandpa, it's finally happening. And what I'm about to show you, what I'm about to tell you is going to change your HBAR price prediction forever. It's going to make you realize that everything you thought you knew, every number you had in your head is simply too low. This isn't just about a price pump. This is about a monumental shift. And by the end of this video, you will have a clear, actionable understanding of exactly why this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity. You'll learn how to spot a real market mover, and you'll be armed with the knowledge to make smarter decisions than 99% of other investors. This isn't just a video, it's a promise. Stick with me and I'll deliver. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. You know that feeling when you're waiting for a train and you hear the whistle blow in the distance? That's what the last 24 hours have felt like for every crypto investor, especially for those of us who have been patient HBAR holders. Just a day ago, the US Federal Reserve, the most powerful financial institution in the world, did something we've been waiting for all year. They cut interest rates for the first time since December 2024. And if you're a savvy investor, and I know you are because you're here, you know that an interest rate cut is like a shot of adrenaline for risky assets. It's the moment liquidity starts to flow back into the system, seeking higher returns than a meager savings account. This is not just some minor financial adjustment. This is the first green light on the road to a bull market. The Fed's move is a clear signal that they are pivoting from fighting inflation to stimulating growth. And that pivot is exactly what we need to see money rotate back into the crypto ecosystem. We've seen this script before, but this time the stakes are higher. The players are bigger. The institutional interest is more mature. And what happened almost immediately? HBAR surged. We're back to that psychologically important 25-cent mark. Now, I know what you're thinking. We've been at 25 cents before. It was just a week ago on the 12th of this month. And yes, it's true. We've been trading in this range for a bit, but to think that this is just another bump is to miss the entire point. It's like looking at a sapling that's been in the ground for a year, not growing much, and then a single rainstorm hits and you think, big deal, it's just rain, but you're wrong. That rain is the catalyst. It's the signal that deep down in the roots, a massive change is happening and the growth is about to be exponential. This is the very first lesson you need to internalize from this video. The market doesn't just move randomly, it moves with intention. This latest Fed action is the macro signal that the big players, the institutions, the hedge funds, the major corporations are looking for. They've been on the sidelines waiting for a clear sign that the economic tide is turned. And now they have it. The first interest rate cut of the year. A move by the Fed that says we are now actively trying to make the economy grow again. And where does that growth-seeking money go? It goes into high growth, high utility assets. It goes into crypto, and it goes with a very specific focus into projects that can handle the volume, security, and scalability these institutions require. Projects like Hedera Hashgraph. Think back to my grandpa Leo's stories. He talked about a time when the world was changing, when new companies were being born and old industries were dying. He used to say, the real money isn't in what everyone is talking about today, but in what everyone will be using tomorrow. That's the mindset we need to have. The HBAR price prediction you had in your head was based on yesterday's reality, a reality of high interest rates and cautious market sentiment. But that reality has changed in the last 24 hours. And with that change comes a massive opportunity for anyone who understands what's happening. This initial bounce isn't just about a price chart. It's about a shift in the entire global financial ecosystem, and we are at the very beginning of that shift. But a word of warning, a simple price pump is easy to fade. This is different. The fundamentals and technicals are aligning in a way that suggests this bounce is just the first domino to fall. And what's about to be revealed is the real reason you're here. We've talked about the Fed, we've talked about the price. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of the chart itself, the technical proof that we have a powerful breakout happening right before our eyes. If you're a visual learner, you'll love the next segment because we're going to look at the chart and I'm going to show you exactly why this isn't just a random pump, but a move that has been building for a long time. Get ready to see the market through a new lens. So we've established that the macroeconomic stars are aligning. But any good investor knows you can't just rely on macro trends. You need to look at the technicals. You need to look at the chart itself. This is where the story gets really compelling because the chart is whispering secrets to us. And once you know how to read them, it's impossible to unsee them. I want you to remember this feeling of clarity, this moment where everything clicks, because this is the knowledge that sets you apart. The chart isn't just a bunch of lines and numbers, it's a roadmap. And right now, that roadmap is pointing to one thing: a massive upward breakout. Looking at the 1-year chart, we're starting to form an uptrend again, which is a fantastic sign, but a trend is just a trend until it's confirmed. What we want to see, what we need to see for a real sustained move is a decisive break over previous key highs. And that's exactly what's happening. We've broken over the upper trend line of a long-term downtrend. This is huge. Think of it like a dam that's been holding back a massive reservoir of water. For months, the water has been building up, but the dam has held. But now that dam is starting to crack. The retest we just saw, where the price came back down and bounced off that upper trend line, that's not a moment of weakness, that's a moment of confirmation. We retested it, we found support on it, and now we're bouncing again. This is a powerful signal. It tells us that the previous resistance has now become new rock solid support. And this isn't just a blip on the daily chart, this is happening on the 3-day structure. On the 3-day chart, I'm personally looking for us to break back over 26 cents. Why 26 cents? Because if you look at the weekly chart, you can see why that 26-cent zone is so incredibly significant. It's a major psychological and technical hurdle. We want a close over that level on the weekly candle. A 26-cent plus close on the weekly will be a loud, undeniable signal that we are going to retest the highs from back in July. And we all know what happens once we break those. It's a clean shot to the 2025 highs, which are around that 40-cent mark. This is the power of technical analysis. It's not magic, it's just about understanding human behavior and market psychology. The market is full of people who are just like you and me, and when a key level is broken, it triggers a chain reaction. The shorts get squeezed, the sideline investors jump in, the momentum traders pile on, and that's how a small bounce turns into an explosion. I want you to feel that excitement, that surge of confidence, knowing that you're not just hoping for a pump, you're seeing the proof that it's already in motion. But it gets even better, because if we look at the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, which is a momentum indicator that tells us if an asset is overbought or oversold, the picture is incredibly bullish. We've broken over the moving average on the RSI and we're starting to trail to the upside yet again. But here's the best part. We're still only around 56 or 57 on the RSI. Why is that so important? Because an overbought asset is typically above 70 on the RSI. We are not even close to being overbought at all. This tells us that there is a ton of steam left in this chart. We have so much room to run before we hit any kind of significant resistance from a momentum standpoint. This is the difference between a quick pump and a sustained rally. This is what you want to see. This is the opportunity. This is the moment I wish I could sit down with my grandpa Leo and show him the chart on my phone. I can almost hear him saying, "So it's not just a hunch, huh? The numbers prove it." He'd appreciate the hard data. He'd appreciate the fact that this isn't a fantasy, but a logical, methodical move. And I think every HBAR holder should feel that same sense of validation right now. We've been patient, we've done our research, and the chart is now confirming everything we've believed. But technicals are just one part of the equation. The next part is even bigger. It's about a massive market-wide trend that is now in full swing. A trend that has been building for months and is now starting to go mainstream. We're going to dive into the altcoin season index and the DeFi market. And when you see what's happening there, you'll realize that not only is this move happening, but Hedera Hashgraph is perfectly positioned to be one of the biggest winners of all. Let's get into it. Now let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture, because this isn't just about HBAR. This is about a monumental shift in the entire crypto market. It's something we've been waiting for, something we've been talking about since early this year, and it's finally here. The altcoin season index is now at 76 out of 100. For those of you who are new to this concept, an altcoin season is officially here when 75% of the top 50 cryptocurrencies have outperformed Bitcoin over a given period. And the reason this is happening, we are finally starting to see Bitcoin dominance and even Ethereum dominance drop a bit. This means that money is rotating from the big blue chip cryptos into the smaller, higher growth potential altcoins. It's a sign of a healthy, rotating market. It's a sign that the bull market is diversifying and the opportunity is spreading. I want you to think about this in real world terms. It's like a wave. Bitcoin is the first biggest wave. It's what gets everyone's attention. But then a second, third, and fourth wave start to build up behind it. And that's what's happening with altcoins right now. The total market cap of crypto is back to a mind-blowing $4,110 billion, 0 cents. And the most beautiful part of this is that most of those gains have been coming from the altcoin side of the market. We are 100% locked in on altcoins bouncing back in a big, massive way. But I'm not just here to talk about altcoins in general. I want to talk about a specific category that is primed to explode and that holds a massive key to HBAR's future. DeFi. A lot of people kind of forgot about DeFi, especially during the bear market, but it's back, and it's back with a vengeance. And what's wild is that the statistics don't even fully capture its value. If we look at the DeFi side of the market, it's up over 16% in the last 24 hours alone, with a market cap of over $388 billion, 0 cents. What's even crazier is that this number doesn't even include Ethereum, which is a DeFi powerhouse, or even HBAR, which is not yet listed on many of these trackers. I would argue that the real market cap of DeFi is closer to $1 trillion. And it's not just about market cap. Let's talk about TVL, or total value locked. That's the amount of money locked into DeFi protocols. There's over $163 billion, 0 cents, tied back to DeFi. This is a massive, massive amount of value. This is why I've been saying for years that the DeFi side of the market is going to experience a much larger push to the upside than where we're at right now. Think about it. Our all-time high back in 2021 was close to $200 billion, 0 cents in TVL. We're sitting at $163 billion, 0 cents right now, and that's before the real momentum has even kicked in. We are on the verge of breaking all-time highs for TVL. This is the problem, the incredible opportunity that the market has created. There is a gigantic trillions of dollars in potential market that is about to explode, and the question is, which networks are ready to capture that value? That's where Hedera comes in. While the broader DeFi market is massive, Hedera is still very, very early in its journey. We've only got about $125 million, 0 cents, tied back to our TVL, with an all-time high of about $214 million, 0 cents. This is both a weakness and a monumental strength. It's a weakness because we are behind other chains, but it's a strength because it means we have so much room to grow. We have all this untapped potential, this massive ready-made market that is now in full bull mode. So while everyone is celebrating the return of DeFi, we as HBAR holders should be thinking about how we can take a piece of that $1 trillion pie. The stage is set. The market is now looking for the best of breed projects to invest in, and what I'm about to show you in the next segment is exactly why a major new partnership is the single most important development that will finally bridge that gap. We're going to talk about a recent announcement that connects Hedera to dozens of other blockchains, bringing a tidal wave of liquidity and users straight to our doorstep. This is the Hedera news that will change your entire perspective. All right, so we've established that the DeFi market is a $1 trillion monster that's just waiting to be fed. And we've also established that Hedera's own DeFi ecosystem is still just a baby. So how does a project with a baby TVL capture a piece of that $1 trillion monster? The answer, my friends, is through a network of bridges. The key to capturing liquidity is to make it easy for money and users to flow from one blockchain to another. And that's why this next piece of news is so earth-shattering. It's the single most compelling argument for why your HBAR price prediction is far too low. We just saw a massive announcement happen recently. Hedera is now live on Stargate. Now, for those of you who don't know, Stargate is a huge deal. It's not just some random partnership. It's a giant in this space. Stargate is the first fully composable native asset bridge built on Layer 0. It's a project with over 300,000 followers, and it has already facilitated over $70 billion 0 cents in cross-chain transfers with a flawless security record. When a project of this magnitude partners with Hedera, it's a massive ringing endorsement. It's a statement to the entire crypto world that Hedera Hashgraph is a network worth connecting to. But what does this mean for you, an HBAR holder? This isn't just a technical integration, it's a bridge that connects Hedera, a top 20 token with a $10 billion 0 cents market cap, to 40 connected chains on Stargate's global liquidity layer. Think about the implications of that. It means that for the first time, users from other major blockchains can now transfer wrapped Ethereum to Hedera. And once that WETH is on Hedera, it's tradable on our leading DEX Saucer Swap. It also unlocks the ability for over 400 plus protocols in the Layer 0 ecosystem to have access to the Hedera network. This is not just a trickle of liquidity. This is a fire hose. And the best part, it directly solves a problem that has plagued our DeFi ecosystem, the need for a simple, secure way to get liquidity onto our network. This integration makes it seamless. It's as easy as a few clicks, and a new world of opportunity opens up. This is exactly what we needed to see the TVL on Hedera's DeFi protocols really start to accelerate. The technical capabilities have always been there, the enterprise use cases have been growing, but the one missing piece was the ability to easily onboard retail liquidity from other chains. That missing piece is now gone. I remember my grandpa Leo telling me about a time when the internet was still new. He said people were using dial-up modems and it was slow, clunky, and hard to connect with others. He said the real revolution happened when faster connections became a thing. He'd say it's not about the invention itself, but about how easily people can use it. That's the same principle here. Stargate is that faster connection. It's the broadband that will finally allow Hedera's DeFi ecosystem to reach its full potential. But this is just the first layer of the story. The Stargate partnership is great, but the real benefit, the thing that makes Hedera uniquely suited to win this market, is a hidden technical advantage that most people don't even know exists. It's a problem that almost every other blockchain suffers from, and it's a problem that Hedera's unique architecture completely eliminates. And when you understand this, you'll feel a sense of confidence and security that you won't get from holding any other altcoin. It's a game changer for every single HBAR holder out there. We're going to dive into what Hedera is and why Hedera's design completely protects you from it. Okay, we've covered the Fed's rate cut, the technical breakout on the HBAR chart, the coming altcoin season, and the game-changing Stargate partnership. You're probably feeling pretty bullish right now. But what I'm about to tell you is the single most important, most unique, and most reassuring fact about Hedera Hashgraph. It's a technical advantage that puts it in a league of its own, especially for the multi-trillion-dollar institutional and payment markets. And it has everything to do with a concept called MEV, or maximum extractable value. Now, don't let the technical jargon scare you off. The concept is simple, and it's a huge problem for almost every other blockchain in existence. Think about it like this. You're at a vending machine and you put in your dollar to buy a soda. Right as you press the button, someone sees what you're doing, runs in front of you, buys the last soda, and then immediately sells it back to you for a slightly higher price. You still get your soda, but you pay a little bit more and they walk away with a profit. That's essentially what MEV and front running are. It's a predatory practice where bad actors, usually bots, can see your transaction order before it's confirmed and can manipulate the order of transactions to extract profit from you. This is a terrible experience for you, the retail user, and it's a deal breaker for institutional players. Think about it. If a bank or a major corporation is moving millions or billions of dollars on chain, they cannot afford to have some bot front run their trade. For them, it's not just a bad user experience, it's an illegal activity in most financial markets. It's a non-starter. This is a fundamental, almost unbreakable flaw in the architecture of many of the most popular blockchains, including Ethereum. Because they process transactions in parallel, not sequentially, they are inherently vulnerable to this kind of manipulation. And this is where Hedera comes in. As the speaker in the transcript mentioned, Hedera is a unique technical achievement. It's not a fork of Bitcoin or Ethereum. It was built from the ground up with a different, superior consensus mechanism called the hash graph. And as such, it simply does not have the concept of MEV. Transactions on Hedera are not front runnable. They have a sequential ordering of transactions without this risk. The order in which they are submitted is the order in which they are processed. This is immensely important, not just for institutional players who need to trade securities, but for you, the everyday investor. It means you are protected. It means you are safe. I can just imagine Grandpa Leo leaning in and saying, so it's not just fast and cheap, it's honest? He'd get it. He'd understand that trust and fairness are the real currency. He'd see that this isn't just a technological gimmick. It's a foundational principle that makes Hedera a truly disruptive force. This is why we have been witnessing so much adoption around Hedera when it comes to payment use cases like micropayments and stablecoins. This is why the DTCC and other major players are interested in it. They need a network they can trust, a network that has fairness and security baked into its very core. This isn't about hype, it's about a fundamental design choice that makes Hedera a superior network for the future of finance. It's a real-world consequence that puts other blockchains at a massive disadvantage. We are talking about the difference between a system that protects its users and a system that allows them to be preyed upon. And this is not the only thing that sets us apart. We've talked about no MEV, but what about the transaction fees? The next segment will tie it all together with HBAR's entire tech stack and prove why the price prediction you had in your head is far too low. Get ready to understand the full picture from security to cost to scalability and see why Hedera is the only logical choice for the future. So you now know that Hedera's unique technology completely eliminates the problem of MEV, a predatory practice that plagues almost every other blockchain. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. The true power of the Hedera Hashgraph lies in its entire tech stack, a foundation built for the future of finance, a future that involves not just billions, but trillions of dollars moving on-chain. And this is a future that networks like Bitcoin and Ethereum simply cannot handle. Let's break it down, because this is the knowledge that will give you an unshakable conviction in your HBAR holdings. First, let's talk about the tech stack itself. As the speaker mentioned, Hedera is a unique technical achievement. It's not a fork. It's a completely new, purpose-built architecture. The consensus mechanism, the ABFT security mechanism, is next level. What does that even mean? It means it's asynchronous, Byzantine, fault-tolerant. It's the highest level of security you can achieve. It's like a fortress built with multiple layers of defense. It's resistant to censorship, malicious attacks, and single points of failure. Institutional players who need absolute certainty and security will 100% value that above all else. This is not about a quick buck. It's about a long-term, multi-trillion-dollar play. Next, let's talk about the transaction fees. This is a point of contention for many other networks. On Ethereum, you can pay thousands of dollars in gas fees just to move a few assets. It's slow, unpredictable, and a nightmare for anyone who needs to transact at scale. On Hedera, the fees are low and fixed. It's predictable. This is a massive fundamental advantage for enterprises, for developers, for retailers, and for you. My grandpa Leo would talk about how important it was to have predictable costs in business. He'd say, you can't build a business if you don't know what your costs are going to be tomorrow. That's the same principle here. You can't build a scalable, globally used financial network if the transaction costs are volatile and prohibitively high. This simple but powerful feature is why Hedera is attracting so many partners. Then there's the speed and the scalability. Hedera is fast. I'm talking about thousands of transactions per second with near instant finality. This is a level of performance that other networks can only dream of. And it's scalable. It's built to handle not just today's needs, but tomorrow's. It's built to handle trillions of transactions per year. The speaker made a very important point. We cannot sit here thinking that enterprises and institutional players are going to be fine paying absurd gas fees. We cannot live in a fantasy world where the future of finance is built on slow, expensive, and unscalable networks. It's simply not going to happen. This is the hard truth that every investor needs to understand. It's not a one-chain-fits-all world. Hedera is not going to be the only winner here, but it's going to be networks like Hedera with networks that are taking what we already know about crypto and building a tech stack that can handle the future-proofing of any use case. The XRP Ledger, Stellar, Algorand, these are other projects in that same category, but Hedera has a unique advantage with the Hashgraph consensus and its governance structure. It's an elite club, and we are on the ground floor. I want you to feel that sense of clarity and conviction right now. This is not a guess. This is not hope. This is a logical conclusion based on hard facts. This is the argument that every HBAR holder has been making since 2021. It's the original argument that made us believe HBAR was going to be a top 10 project and a household name, and now the market is finally starting to realize it. But we are still so early. The next segment will tie this all together with the bridges we've been building and show you exactly how this incredible tech stack is about to be unleashed on the market in a way we've never seen before. We're going to talk about the real world consequence of all these connections and how it leads to the final irrefutable proof that your HBAR price prediction is far too low. Okay, we've covered the tech. You now know that Hedera's core architecture, its ABFT, security, low fixed fees, and lack of MEV, makes it the only logical choice for the future of finance. But for all that technology to matter, you need connections. You need to build a bridge to the rest of the crypto world. And that's exactly what the Hedera ecosystem has been doing, quietly and methodically. While other projects were focused on hype and short-term pumps, this is the long-term play, and it's starting to pay off in a big way. Think about the global liquidity network that's been building around Hedera. We have Stargate, a massive new player with over 40 plus networks connected. But it's not just Stargate. We also have Hashport, one of the original and most reliable players in the ecosystem, with 12 plus networks connected. We have other bridges like EDA and Swarm, bringing in more connections every day. And when you look at it all together, we are talking about over 50 plus blockchains connected to Hedera Hashgraph. I want you to really visualize this. Imagine a Hedera is a bustling, brand new city. It's got the best infrastructure, the best roads, the most secure buildings. But for a long time, the only way to get to that city was a single old highway. Now imagine dozens of new, massive highways have been built, all leading directly into that city. Each one brings in traffic, commerce, and people from all over the country. And this is what's happening to Hedera right now. All of these bridges are bringing in users and liquidity from every corner of the crypto world. From Ethereum to Polygon to Avalanche to BNB chain, they are all now connected and can transfer their assets to Hedera. This is so crucial to focus on because this is the real world consequence of all that great technology we just talked about. This is so much more than just a piece of Hedera news. It's the moment where the gears of the machine finally start to turn. This massive connected network is going to expose Hedera to so many more users and so much more capital. It's going to accelerate the growth of our DeFi ecosystem in a way we've never seen before. We are witnessing so much more exposure to Hedera and the DeFi side of Hedera, and this is extremely exciting. I can't help but think of Grandpa Leo again. He used to talk about how the real pioneers weren't the ones who just built a good product, but the ones who built the network to get that product to the people. He'd talk about the railroad pioneers, the telephone pioneers. He'd say the real money is in the network, not just the product. That's the same principle here. Hedera has a phenomenal product, but the HBAR team and the community have been building the network. They've been building the bridges. And now all of those bridges are starting to fill up with traffic. We are at a critical inflection point. Projects like SaucerSwap are already seeing the effects of this. With the recent Stargate integration and other bridges, they are starting to build and expand. Their TVL is growing. We're talking about a DEX that has already seen over $85 million, 0 cents in TVL, and I see that number growing 2, 3, maybe even 5 times in a very short amount of time. And coming a bit after that, we have DAX, which are the top. Why? Because the ground is being laid. The groundwork is there for deeper liquidity flows and more user adoption. But this isn't just about the current TVL. This is a promise for what's to come. We've talked about a lot of things, the Fed, the chart, the tech, the bridges, but what's the one metric that will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that all of this is not just hype? What's the ultimate payoff for every single person who's held on to their HBAR? The next segment will reveal a simple yet powerful metric that will finally put it all into perspective. It will be the final piece of the puzzle, and when it clicks, you'll feel an unstoppable sense of conviction. We're gonna dive into the final mind-blowing numbers and talk about why this is just the start of something truly special. We've been on a journey. We started with the macro, moved to the micro, and looked at the core technology that makes Hedera a one-of-a-kind project. We've talked about the Fed cutting rates, the technical breakout on the HBAR chart, the massive rise of DeFi, the game-changing Stargate partnership, and the fundamental technical advantage of no MEV. But all of this incredible information boils down to one simple, crucial one number that will prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that your HBAR price prediction is far, far too low. And that metric is TVL. Let's go back to the beginning of this video. We talked about how the total value locked in the entire DeFi space is over $163 billion 0 cents, and how the true value is probably closer to $1 trillion. Now let's look at Hedera's own numbers. As of today, we have about $125 million 0 cents tied back to our TVL, with an all-time high of around $214 million 0 cents. Now let's be honest, in the grand scheme of things, that's still a small number. It's a fraction of what networks like Ethereum, Solana, and others have, and that's precisely the point. The opportunity for growth here is not just linear, it's exponential. We are a baby with the potential to grow into a giant. The speaker in the transcript made a crucial point that a lot of people miss. He said that the actual value of DeFi is closer to $1 trillion, 0 cents. Think about that number. That's a massive, massive market. And we, as HBAR holders, are positioned to disrupt and take a piece of that market. This is just a starting point for DeFi as a whole, and it's a starting point for Hedera's DeFi ecosystem. I want you to imagine the impossible. I want you to visualize a future where the promise of $1 trillion DeFi market becomes a reality. Now, I want you to think about what happens to HBAR's TVL when money starts to flow in from all those 50+ connected chains. What happens when developers and enterprises realize that they can build decentralized applications on a network that has low, fixed fees, no MEV, and enterprise-grade security? That $125 million 0 cents TVL isn't just a number, it's a launch pad. This is the big payoff. This is the HBAR news that changes everything. The Stargate partnership isn't just a bridge, it's a portal for millions of users and billions of dollars in liquidity to flow into the Hedera network. And as that liquidity flows in, as the TVL grows, the demand for HBAR, the native token required for network fees, will skyrocket. It's a simple case of supply and demand. The price must by law follow the utility. This is why your old HBAR price prediction is too low. It was based on a time before all these bridges were built, before the Fed signaled its pivot, before the market was back in full altcoin season mode. This is the final, irrefutable proof. The TVL is coming, the money is coming, the users are coming, and it's all because Hedera has been building a network that is ready for the future. This is the most exciting time to be an HBAR holder, and you should feel a sense of immense pride and confidence. And I want you to remember that story I told you about my grandpa Leo. He saw the potential in things before others did. He was a pioneer, and he'd tell you that the most valuable thing you can have in life isn't money, but the knowledge of where to find it. You now have that knowledge. You now understand why all the pieces of the puzzle, the Fed, the chart, the tech, the partnerships, are all pointing to one monumental conclusion. So here's the deal. I want you to remember this moment. I want you to smash that like button right now and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below, based on everything you've just learned, what's your new HBAR price prediction? Let's start the debate. Let's create a community of people who are not just hoping, but who are confident this isn't just the end of a video, it's the start of a journey. The next video is going to dive even deeper into a new problem that's emerging in the crypto space and how Hedera's council is preparing to solve it before it even happens. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. Peace out.